My friend Maya here today. How are you doing today?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Of course. Right before we started recording, you said you had a wedding down in DC, right? Last weekend or so?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
Virginia. So the wedding was in Virginia, and then I'd never been to DC, so I decided to go spend a day in DC and hung out with President Lincoln and went and checked out the Washington Monument and looked at the White House behind the fence and all that cool stuff.
very nice. And now you're back down in Florida?
Yep, yes I am. I
Awesome.
was gonna say back to good weather, but it was actually beautiful weather up there. It was a hot sunny day. Well, mixed with a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you're no stranger to rain down in Florida, right? With the thunderstorms and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much every day in the summer.
Cool. So, Maya, why don't how about you give a little introduction about yourself and who it is that you help and what exactly you do?
Yeah. So my name is Maya Weiner. I own a bookkeeping firm called Solvency Now Bookkeeping, and we help business owners with their books. We do full service, so we do, everything from S corporation elections, LLCs to payroll taxes, 1099 filing, and as well as all the financial reporting in QuickBooks Online, so that everything is ready for taxes. We have over 150 companies that we do bookkeeping for, and I have a team of 10. So we really like to help business owners.
Wow, that's very awesome. And how long have you had your business here?
So I've had my business, it's like 5.5 years since I started at the beginning of 2018. And I've been doing bookkeeping personally for a long time. Straight out of high school, I started doing bookkeeping. So I was doing it for a long time, and then I decided I was going to go out on my own and just be able to help business owners succeed. That's my personal purpose, is to help business owners succeed.
Oh, nice.
Help the world out
Yeah,
there.
I can totally relate to the jump going from working somewhere else into starting your own thing. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your experience and how you got to that? Like, what was it that you were like, all right, now this is time where I'm doing this on my own kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, probably like a lot of entrepreneurs, I really couldn't handle working for other people anymore. I got to the point where I felt like I knew better than they did, and what they were telling me to do was stupid. And I was an expert in the financial field. So it's not that I knew everything about how to run a company, because I totally didn't. But the things that they were telling me to do, even with their finances, I was just like, you make no sense. This is so dumb. And, I feel like every entrepreneur, probably one of the reasons that they are an entrepreneur is because they're just not good at working for other people. So as much as I'm really good at working with other people, it got really tough for me knowing so much more than the business owners knew about their own company. So I did. I started as a side hustle where I was doing bookkeeping on the side from my regular jobs, and then a really good friend of mine offered me a position as the CFO of his marketing company, and I really couldn't turn it down. So I
Mm.
took that position. I did that for a couple of years. And then he and I both came to the same conclusion of like, I needed to go off on my own. And so I trained someone up for his company to replace myself, so they knew what they were doing. And I just kind of took a leap. I had probably a few clients, 2 or 3 clients at the time, definitely not enough to pay my bills. I took out a loan to cover my bills and gave myself a month to make enough money. And it was, you know,
Oh,
entrepreneurs
I
are
love.
willing to take risks, right? So I took a risk.
Yeah, yeah, I totally love that. Really throwing yourself right into the fire there.
Yeah.
So you said you started off, you only had a few clients, and now you have this basically timeline that you need to get going with this. So what was it that really jumped you into, okay, now I can pay back this loan. Now I'm starting to make money. Like what what was the kind of switch or like
Um, it
amplified everything?
Well, I was bootstrapping it. So it wasn't like I had any investors or anything. I knew I had clients. I had a few clients. I knew that I knew how to do bookkeeping, and that everybody needs bookkeeping. Every business needs bookkeeping.
Hmm.
So I just I actually I remember there was a day where I was really freaking out about it because I only had a couple of weeks worth of money left and I had to figure it out. And I literally was, curled up in bed in my studio apartment in LA at the time. I was giving myself a pep talk and I was like, it's just sales. You can do sales. Just go get some more clients. Like, you can do this. And I'd never been in sales, but I had kind of grown up around it. My dad is a fundraiser and I like talking to people. I'm good at talking to people. So I was just like, it's just sales. It's not that scary. Just go talk to people. You can do this. I literally pep talking myself. And then I did. I was, I didn't have any marketing budget. I had nothing. So I would just be, and honestly, some of the things that I did then are the same things I'm doing now as far as like finding clients because they worked. I would just go on Facebook and basically say, hi, everyone, I own a bookkeeping firm. If you need any help on your bookkeeping, let me know. And everybody needs help on their bookkeeping. So every time I do that, and get into a new audience or whatever, someone comes to me and says, I actually really need help. Not everyone is the right fit, but I want to be able to help everyone, whether it's refer them to someone that can help them, whether it's give them a free consultation or an in-depth consultation on something they need, whether it's teach them QuickBooks or whether it's have them become a client of my company. I really want to be able to help all business owners. So that's what I started out. I got a relatively bigger client in the beginning and that really helped, but that wasn't even enough. I had to get a couple of more. It was quite a journey, man. And then I remember there was a point I now had a few clients. I had enough to pay my bills and I was rolling, and then I had to do all the work myself. So I had done a bunch of sales and I was doing all these catch up bookkeeping projects, and all of a sudden I finished all the projects. I had like a little bit, I think I had hired one subcontractor by that point because I needed help on the bigger client. And it was just enough to pay my bills. I had a good month because everything was rolling, but I was working on the delivery side of doing all the bookkeeping. And then all of a sudden, I finished the projects and I had like nothing to do and no new money coming in. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear on your show, but it was a
go for it.
moment. Yeah. And I really have a lot of empathy for entrepreneurs because I went into an entrepreneur depression. And I don't know if this is something that is talked about a lot, but all of a sudden I had hit this big month for me. Like right now, if I hit that level of month, I'd be like, yeah, I can't even cover one person's payroll. But at the time, in the very beginning, it was a big month, it was maybe, I don't remember. It was a good month for, just starting. It was maybe like 16,000, like a 16,000 revenue month. And I was so pumped and I was so excited, but I finished all the projects. And because I was so busy doing the projects, there was no new sales. Yeah. And so I literally stayed in bed. I was like, no one cares if I get out of bed. I have no boss. I have a contractor who doesn't need me. They're rolling, sometimes they ask me a question. I text them back. No one cares if I get out of bed. No one cares what I do all day. I could do nothing and no one would even notice. I just had to be able to pay my rent. And I was like, and if I can't pay my rent, I'll go sleep on my sister's couch, I don't know. And I remember telling my friends, I think I'm depressed. And they were like, you're so, because I'm always laughing and smiling. How could you be depressed? Do you know what depressed means? You would just want to stay in bed all day and you don't want to do anything. And I was like, yeah, that's you're describing me right now. And I had to really come to terms with the fact that you have to motivate yourself and literally do everything on your own steam. And no one cares when you're an entrepreneur. There's no one to see if you showed up at work. There's clients, but sometimes, at the time, I had contractors working and it was a bare minimum that I had to do. And so I would do it and then go back to bed. And you really have to change your whole mindset that you're doing everything on your own steam. And you have to do it. It's not even just create your own motivation and create your own accountability, but you have to do it anyways, even if you're not motivated. you have to go and be consistent and do the posting on social media and talking to the clients, and because you're not like it's never going to turn from just like a one person thing that you barely have enough to do and you're just got like, not an artist, but the starving artist syndrome where you're just waiting for the
Hmm.
next thing, to turn that into a company where, it's just your own steam, man. That's all I can say. And it took me a
Yeah.
while to come out of that and get to where I was just operating off of that new level.
Yeah. Yeah, they say no one will care about your business more than you. So you got to make sure that you constantly show up day in and day out. And I see lack of motivation or ups and downs in motivation a lot, especially in my field with a lot of clients in fitness and nutrition training. And one thing that I try to tell a lot of my clients is motivation comes and goes. It's just like any day. You got sunny days, you got rainy days. So you're going to have days where you really want to hit the gym and days you really don't want to. But what shows up day in and day out is discipline. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit harder to get and keep. So I want to ask you, how did you develop the discipline to get back out of bed? What was it that kind of got you going when you were feeling down and you had nothing to do? What picked you back up and had you push things even further?
I feel like you're like almost asking the wrong question, because I feel like I'm not a very disciplined person. If I
Okay.
was, I would be going to the gym every day. I finally hired a personal trainer, and she was like, "Do you want to come to the gym here?" And I was like, "No, you need to show up at my house, because if I have to go to the gym, I will cancel on you. I already know." So she comes and trains me here, and tries to make my dog not walk on my face, when
But
that happens.
but you're definitely disciplined with your work and such.
I created an environment for myself where, for how I work best. It's not comfortable. I don't work best on comfort. Consistency, yes, but I work best on like deadlines and you have to or
Mm.
else.
Okay.
So I started making things, I'm putting things on my calendar that I had to do, because
Hmm.
not because, and I'm still not good when if I tell myself like, okay, I'm going to go to bed by midnight, like that doesn't usually happen. But if I tell someone else, like, I will get this done for you by the end of the day, that's going to be done. I might not go to bed till 4 a.m., but it's going to get done. So I started creating for myself things that were just non negotiable, things that if I made an agreement, and I'm not saying this is the best way to do it, because if I could be as disciplined as some of these top entrepreneurs, like I'm pretty sure my life would be much better. And it's something that I aspire towards. Like those people that get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and do their, gratitude, and they do all their things, and then they're just like pumped and ready to work. Other than the fact that they also like go to bed at 8 p.m. and I go to bed at like between midnight and 4 a.m. Yeah.
That's like me.
Yeah, but I aspire to be that disciplined. Like I just think of how much more I'd be able to do and how much better things would be if I was that disciplined. I'm currently have not yet achieved that level of discipline. So I just create a ton of non-negotiables and things that have to get done no matter what, and then I just do them. And it doesn't even matter what it is. Like if somebody asks me to be on their podcast, I will show up and I will make sure I'm prepared, and that's it, because I have to, because I said I would, and I am, a woman of my word. So if I tell a client something will get done, I mean, barring, hey, we started doing this for you and that opened this whole can of worms and we actually need to go work on this. And so this is going to take longer, stuff like that obviously happens. But if I
Hmm.
tell someone that something is going to get done, it's going to get done. I have company policies where emails have to get answered in one business day. So those I sit down. I mean, now I have my customer service person pretty much go through I get 200 emails a day and I can't answer all of them myself. So she goes through them. But if there's an email that a client needs to talk to me, that email will get answered within one business day, because she'll give me a list. These are the emails that have to get answered. And it doesn't matter what I do before I go to bed, those are answered.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and you sounds like you put a lot of designed pressure on yourself. What's the saying is, pressure creates diamonds or something like that. So I love that you kind of put that on yourself. And
Yeah.
for me, myself, for
For
myself,
some
like,
people, like, some people, they die under pressure and they just need everything
mhm.
to be really organized a certain way. But for me, like, I know if I don't give, because, like, if all you have to do that day is clean your house, your apartment or whatever, right? It's all that's going to get done is by the end of the day, maybe most of the rooms will be clean because I had
Yeah.
nothing to do all day. But if I literally have to get that apartment cleaned in the morning and have 10 other things to do, at least 8 of them are going to get done. And I know that about myself. So that's how I designed
Yeah.
pressure. I like that. That's a great term.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the principle or law or whatever it's called, but when you have too much time, you wait until the last minute no matter what. That's definitely me, especially like
Me
in grad school
too.
and such, like putting off my papers until like the day of.
Yeah,
Um, and and I found for my stuff that helps a lot with my clients too, because in the beginning it would just be like, okay, let's sign up. You get this many sessions, use them, and then eventually they would just have sessions on their account, and it would just never happen. So I kind of took a step back from the sessions, and I'm like, okay, we have 12 weeks. This is what we're going to do. We got to get the work in because that sets that goal line, that deadline. So people got to get things in and get the work done before that 12 weeks. And
exactly.
I love that you do that with pretty much everything.
Yeah, and you just put it on the calendar. I mean, if I showed you my calendar, it's insane. My customer service rep who has to like sometimes schedule things for me, she's like, when you don't have anything open. I'm like, yeah, but this thing can be moved, but these things can't. So we have it like color coded. But it's all full, and I really, we were talking about 10X and like kind of Grant Cardone earlier. He
Mm-hmm.
has this 10X planner and he talks about how you have to have every 15 minutes of your planner full of what you're supposed to be doing right then. And that actually really helps me because when I have moments that aren't full, I kind of go, oh, I should work on my emails. But that doesn't happen. It's somehow like I take a phone call and it drags out. And so the way that I'm disciplined is by going, I have something I'm supposed to be doing right now. I have to go. Like,
Oh
love
yeah.
you, mom. Bye. I'll call you later.
Yep, I love that. Somebody once, when I was first starting, I was very similar to you, where it's like, okay, I had a couple clients in the day, nothing going on. Let me just chill out. I can chill, watch TV. But I would always have the anxiety of I'm supposed to be doing something. Like I should be trying to grow my business, doing something. But it wouldn't click in my head on what to do. And then someone told me that the worst thing ever is having white space in your calendar. So if you want to sit down and watch TV, plug that into your calendar. If you want to go for a walk and call somebody, make sure that's in your calendar.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I started loading my calendar up, and then all of a sudden things started rolling a lot faster for me.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'll never put TV time on my calendar just because I feel like an asshole if I do. Like, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be doing something. But I do like my shows. So what I do is I'll justify it in my head where when I'm doing my emails or when there's things that I can do that like are quiet and I don't need to be talking to anyone or like really having too much concentration, I'll put the
Mm-hmm.
TV on then and I'll always multitask because I hate, like, not that I never do. There's days where I'm just like, I need a break. I wanted to work this weekend or I wanted to, go do all this research on marketing or something, but I'm just going to sit here and have brain numbing TV for a few hours. And I definitely do that. And I feel like sometimes you just, you gotta. But
It's
for the
important,
most
yeah.
part, yeah, but for the most part, my agreement with myself is that if I have the TV on, I have to be working.
Mm-hmm.
So, or if I'm like on the phone with a friend, it's while I'm taking a walk or whatever, so it's not, and I love talking to my friends. And sometimes when it's like, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, I miss you, I'm like, great, let's schedule coffee. Let's go, I mean, unless they're out of state and that happens. But I even try to do that still. But it's like, let's schedule a time.
Virtual coffee.
Yeah, no. It's the same. But it's like, let's schedule a time, sit down, Sunday, 11 a.m. Let's get coffee and we can catch up in 2-3 hours and I won't feel like I'm supposed to be doing something else. That's like
Mm-hmm.
what I'm supposed to be doing. Or it'll be like, okay, good. I had something cancel, let me call my friend back and I'll take a walk. I'll walk my dog. Like I'm just a multitasker. And I don't pretend that that's the best way to do things, but that's what works for me. Different
Mm-hmm.
personality types, do things differently.
Yeah. So you said you had said and you had made an agreement with yourself. So how important is it for you to kind of manage yourself as like, do you manage yourself as someone else where you're kind of like, okay, this is where we'll do some of this time as long as we get some of this stuff done kind of thing?
Um,
Or,
it's more like I don't like I say that and then at this on the same breath I'll be like, yeah, but I don't like listen to myself most of the time. So that's why I try to make agreements with other people to hold myself accountable. But I try to put it's more like policies where I know what works best. Like I know that if I don't put things on my calendar, like I just don't get enough done. And I hate being unproductive. I'm very Jewish and I get that Jewish guilt trip and I Jewish guilt trip myself. Like I feel, when I'm not being productive, I just guilt trip myself. Like, oh, there's things I'm supposed to be doing. There's things that I said I would work on, or I have so many big things that I want to do. And sometimes it's inspiring and motivating and sometimes it's daunting and scary and I don't know how to do those things yet. So there's always learning. I'm always researching. I'm always studying. So sometimes I'm like, great, I have all weekend. I'm just going to like study and research. And then, I get up Saturday morning and I just want to watch TV or whatever. Right. So, um, it's not that I always do what I say I'm going to do to tell myself. And that's why like I said, try to be accountable by telling someone else that I'm going to do that. But I try to have a policy that I know works best for me. Like, okay, good. Like if I'm going to sit down on the couch, like open my computer, do emails. If I'm, hungry, like try to open the fridge first before I open Uber Eats because I probably have something in my fridge that's healthy because I only buy healthy groceries. So I have like healthy food in the fridge, but then I'm like, ooh, I really want that burger. Just like try to just, so there's certain things that I don't know. It's not like I'm talking to myself usually, but sometimes I do. Like I said, I did give myself that pep talk. I do. I probably beat myself up more. So I try to like, okay, I'm not good at this, but I try to think with consequences. So like, what is going to be the consequences? If I eat this, like I'm going to be tired later, or I'm going to have a stomach ache later, or, things like that. So you're asking me hard questions. Hard questions.
Sorry about that. Just, I'm very curious and I'm writing down a bunch of notes. I have a couple other questions that I'm like eager to ask you.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention, because I would do the same thing where I would start to schedule things into my calendar for myself, whether it's like go to work out or go grocery shopping or whatever it might be. But I found myself starting to stop doing those, and I was like, oh, I could do that later. I can find another time to do that. So then I wasn't holding myself accountable to the things that I had put into my schedule. So for a little while, I was using this app called Motion. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, where I would just plug it in, and it would like sync to my Google Calendar, and I would put in like the different critical tasks for each day things that I wanted to get done. And what it does is it uses AI to kind of fill in the spots in my schedule where I have time, and then it would plug it in like, okay, make sure you go do this at that time. So then in a way, I was kind of tricking myself, like, okay, if somebody else is scheduling it for me, then I almost have to do it. So then I'm like, then I can't be like, oh, I'll just push it to the side. So that was kind of like an interesting thing I was doing.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. I think one other thing for me is that I realized that time is more valuable than money. Not more valuable, but my time, and that I have to invest my time wisely in order to make more money. So I hired an assistant like pretty much from the beginning. And it started out where it would just be a few hours a week. Then it was, a few hours a day. And now I have like a full-time assistant and they do all of the time consuming things. So that I can do the things that I really need me, and as I grow my company, I give away more and more pieces of things. Like as things start taking me a long time, I hire someone and I give them that job because there's more things that I'm always supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for ways to save time. And I'm not usually looking for ways to save money these days. Like it's worth spending money to create time. So like for years, I've been getting my groceries delivered. Like do not try to make me go to the grocery store. And my dad would be like, yeah, but I want to get the right tomato and let's see the orange that I like. And I'm like, just show up at my apartment and go in the fridge, and that is, so things like that. Like I try, if there's things that are time consuming
Mhm.
that somebody else could do for me, instead of trying to schedule my own time to do it, I will figure out to get somebody else to pay someone to do it. Because I think a business owner, an entrepreneur's time is worth tens of thousands an hour in potential income. That
Mhm.
in that, but it depends like on what you like to do, right? Like if you like to go to the grocery store and that's like your relaxation for the day, like my dad of picking out oranges, great, like do that. I don't really enjoy that. If I'm kind of like, well, maybe if I was like listening to a podcast at the same time, but even then I'd rather just be taking a walk and listening to a podcast and like walking my dog or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm going to be like, great, someone else can do that for me. So I can spend that time doing something that's truly valuable for my expansion, my growth, my business. I don't need to have my favorite orange. And it's true, it's hit or miss. And sometimes I get squishy oranges, but for the most part, it's good enough.
Yeah, I love that. I don't remember exactly where I heard it or what the quote totally is, but something along the lines of like most people think about getting rich that they need to save money and be very frugal with everything, which is good and it's important to be smart with your money. But some like the wealthiest people don't worry about that. They look to spend more money so that they can make more money. So like exactly like you said, if they can pay somebody or have something a little bit easier, do that so you can make more money on the back end.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot about freeing up a lot of your time so that you can handle some of the bigger projects. And I wanted to ask you, how do you figure out prioritization when you're first starting out? How did you know like, okay, I need to do this because this will make more money down the road over doing these things? Because I felt like when I first started out, I was like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And then I get almost caught up on having so much to do that I would only do like I try to do everything in a day, and I'd only put a little bit of effort into each of them, and then it was like as if nothing was getting done.
Yeah, that's such a good question. I feel like it's something you learn by experience because you kind of start doing things and you just see what the outcome is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the outcome of going grocery shopping is you have groceries, but could someone else do that for you and do it as well as you could do it or better than you could do it? Probably, yeah. I mean, unless you really want that perfect orange. But if I cared enough, I would send my assistant, and I would be like, instead of just getting the grocery delivery, I would be like, and look at every orange and smell it and listen to how it sounds, but I
Yeah.
don't care enough. So that's just not my thing. But there are things where, um, if it's important to me, I'll train someone on how I want it done and if they can
Mm-hmm.
do it. But there's certain things that I found harder to turn over. One of the things is business development. Like I do have someone who does uh, business development and helps me on it, but it always goes better when I'm on the call and, do the sale and I can just explain it. And it's much more likely to close faster if I'm like, here's how we can help you. So there's other things like that where, you just kind of see um, what, you can turn over. Like even in the beginning, I had clients who were like, no, 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 I hired you because I wanted you to do the bookkeeping. And I had to going from that, owner operator to I'm not even fully just owner because there's a lot of hats in my business that I still wear, but moving out of doing all of like the deliverables myself, I had to be like I had to have the conversation with each one because I care about every single one of my clients. And I say, listen, like I'm growing my company. I trained this person. They specifically know exactly what to do with your account. If you ever need me, I'm right here, but I have too much to do it all myself.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody told me once that based on their experience, it was easier to turn over for most companies to train someone on the deliverables in the company, even though sometimes as a business owner, that's your favorite part. So you really have to also decide and do what you like. You can't just hate running a company because you gave away everything you like because it was easier to train or whatever. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, as much as I love bookkeeping, honestly, it's relaxing, it's easy. Sometimes it's challenging and you're like, where's that penny? It's much more challenging to find right employees and to do sales and to figure out marketing. So I trained someone, I found some great people. I have some amazing bookkeepers that work for me that can solve anything where I don't have to even worry about it. And I, turned over my clients, and then it was like, then I would do a bunch of one thing and kind of figure out how I wanted it and turn it over to someone else and get as much documented as I could. But now we're talking about getting bigger. Like, as far as in the beginning, figuring out how to prioritize was, I feel like, one, it was experience. Like, what are the consequences? I talk about this a lot. I have a friend that even asks me all the time, how do you know? I'm like, because I predict consequences. Like, I go, what consequence do I want to achieve? Like, what do I want to have happen? And then what do I have to do to make that happen? And I'm not always right, but having done it enough times, you kind of know, like, know that if you want to lose weight, you have to do a calorie deficit. You have to, exactly, because that's like your field. You know exactly what someone would have to do, but they might not know, but So after a while, you get the experience. So it's like, let's say I have a client that's upset about something and I go, okay, what do I have to do to have a happy client? Okay, I know I have to do this to set up a meeting. I have to explain to them, why they don't think their books make sense, but like really they do. They just don't understand something. And all I have to do is be patient and understanding and explain it to them. And they go, oh, thank you. I thought blah, blah. Well, I know you thought that because this is my area of expertise and not yours. So I'm, and so I really look at that, like, what do I want to achieve? And then what are the steps I need to take to achieve that? And the more that you practice that, I think, the better you get at being right. Because you're not always right. Sometimes you're like, I thought that was going to really go this way, and it didn't go that way, and that sucks. So
that's part of the whole journey, right? That's entrepreneurship with the ups and downs. And I love that you really put it on that it is an experience. And I know personally one way that you can kind of fast track that, I know from myself, is I've hired coaches and mentors myself. And we were talking about little Grant Cardone and such, and you spend a significant amount of time with your own personal development.
Yes.
Like, how do you like, who do you go to, and what do you do for your personal development, and how much time do you spend doing that?
I don't spend as much time as I want to, but probably, a decent amount of time, especially when I'm first starting like a new thing that I'm trying to learn. I'll do a lot of research, but like right now I'm listening to Grant Cardone's 10X Mentor. I also, there's a couple other ones I'm in the middle of. I like switch off, but it's really, I love it because it's motivating. And like, as we said, as an entrepreneur, you don't always feel motivated every day. So he really puts your accountability, you really have to wear your own hat, your own accountability. And I love that. And, so I do those, and I do have mentors. Like, I have a guy that owns a big bookkeeping company, and I ask him questions about every month or two. We set up a call, and he's just been so gracious. And he, I feel like, you want to share your success with people and you want to help them achieve it. Because, I don't know about every industry, but like in bookkeeping, there's lots of bookkeepers, but there's plenty enough businesses that need bookkeeping that it's not like some big dog eat dog, competition. So it's like, so he and I sit down. He's in California, I'm in Florida, but we sit down every month or two and I'll ask him specific questions about, I ran into this, I'm not sure how to do it. And he's such a much bigger company than me. And he's like, we tried this and we tried that. And then I tell him some of my plans that I'm looking at, and he's like, cool, I've never tried that. Let me know how it goes. I'm fascinated. So he does that.
How did you find this guy?
How did I find him? I think I was looking probably for a referral for one of my clients because his company specializes in e-commerce bookkeeping and I don't. So I was looking for a referral, and I talked to his sales rep, and then I said, hey, would you mind if I talk to the business owner? I just am fascinated by your business. And, and he's like, sure, let me ask him. And then the business owner was like, yeah, absolutely. And I thank him profusely every time we talk, like, because I know how valuable his time is. I'm just like, Matt, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for answering my questions. And he's like, absolutely. And he really enjoys it because he also gets to like hear my ideas and like bounce stuff off of me. So we have fun. And then I have a business coach that helps me just like on regular business, everyday stuff. And I just recently hired an industry specific bookkeeping coach because I was like, I'm trying to get to the next level and I have some operational and marketing things that I need to sort out. So I have her, and I love picking people's brains. I don't, it's like you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. So when I meet people that are smarter than me, which happens, a lot, they might not know more about bookkeeping than me. Like I do know a lot about bookkeeping, but they know more about business than me because I was a bookkeeper who started a company. So I ran into recently this guy who owns a really big company nearby, and we happened to be sitting in the same room. And I didn't want to be rude, but I was just kind of being polite and talking to him. And he goes, if you want to pick my brain on anything, you can. And I was like, oh my God, can I? And I just started asking him all these questions, and he gave me such great insight. And then he said to me, yeah, I have a reading list that I recommend. And I was like, oh my gosh, could you send it to me? And he goes, yeah, I'll send you the reading list. And he goes, I'll tell you what, once a month, if you have any questions, you can just email me and ask the question and I'll reply. And I was like, wow. And I think entrepreneurs and business owners are all like that. We all want to help each other. So it's just so, I don't know what the right word, but it's so like awe-inspiring where you just go, wow, everyone, they just want to help. And this guy owns a company that's hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars. And he's just like, sure, you can email me, like no charge. And it just blows my mind. So whenever I run into people who either like bookkeepers who have smaller businesses than me or business owners, like I feel the same way. I want to help them as much as I can. Tell them like, here's the journey I took. Here's how I got there. And here's what worked. And here's what didn't work. And here's why. And also just for business owners on their finances, I know how confusing it is for them when they go, I started a business because I really wanted to do X, Y, Z. And all of a sudden there was all this paperwork from the IRS and this person said I'm supposed to do this and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I know how confusing it is. And so I love being able to come in and go like, listen, I got you. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And they're just like, oh, thank you. So I love that help like on all directions, all flows, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. The entrepreneur world it really is like a great community, always trying to help each other out and trying to like help promote other people's things that they got going on and because everybody wants to see each other succeed. I think a lot of people are talking about now how collaboration is the new form of currency, being able to help and spread the word and things like that. And speaking of that, like what kind of things you've got going on right now?
Oh my gosh. So I was telling you earlier, I'm actually creating a bookkeeping class for business owners and entrepreneurs because I get asked a lot of the same questions over and over again. So I'm trying, and I have webinars. So if anyone wants to check out, my YouTube page and there's Solvency Now, there's tons of webinars that you can see. But I'm also going to create a full like class with a curriculum and like, here's the next step and here's what you should do to answer all those questions and really help people. So I'm working on that. And then
Very
also
cool.
just, as far as helping business owners, if you're watching this and you need some help, I will do a free consultation and just kind of like direct you in the right direction. If you're someone that I can help as a client, I'll do that. If I know you'd be better fit with somebody else, or if you're not ready for that, I teach people QuickBooks. I help people, start businesses as far as LLCs and S Corp elections and explain like what is the difference between an LLC and an S corporation and why would you need one or the other and what type of bank account should I have and all of these things. Like, so we do consultations and like I said, we would do like free consultation for just like getting you going. And if you need something more in depth and you're not ready for bookkeeping yet or not ready to hire someone for bookkeeping, I will just, we'll do a paid consultation to either teach you QuickBooks or teach you whatever you need to know. So I
Oh,
honestly just want to be able to help all the
very
business.
awesome. Yeah, so you got a YouTube channel with a bunch of free content. You're coming
Yeah.
out with courses that'll help teach people, and you're also doing free consultation calls for not just business owners and entrepreneurs, but people who are looking to start business too. I think you said that, right? For people who are
Yeah.
looking
If
to
you're
start their
looking
LLC and stuff like that.
exactly, if you're looking to start a business, if you're not looking to start a business, then I can't help you. You should probably talk to your CPA.
Yeah.
But if you have a business, you're starting a business, just started a business, and you need help or you need a consultation, I am here to help.
Cool. So how do people, one, get in contact with you? How do they follow you on YouTube, social media? Where do people find you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is email me, and it's maya@solvencynow.com. You can also check out my website, solvencynow.com. I have tons of blogs and the links to the YouTube and all that. You can look me up YouTube. It's Solvency Now Bookkeeping. You can find me on Facebook under Solvency Now Bookkeeping or under Maya Weiner. Either way, I will answer. On Instagram under Solvency Now Bookkeeping or Maya Weiner. I do have a TikTok page. We haven't done anything on it for a while, but I'm working on some cool content that's going to be coming out soon where I very animatedly answer questions. And since I'm Israeli and my hands are always moving, and yeah, you can send a smoke signal. I will probably find you, but yeah, the email is probably the best way. Maya@solvencynow.com.
Awesome. And I want to be courteous of the time. I know we're kind of running short here. So last thing, boil it all down. One piece of advice to entrepreneurs to help them survive the side hustle. What do you got?
I've been thinking about this, and I got a good one. So here's something that, I talk to my friends and I talk to other people, and this is something they run into. When people are first starting out and they're trying to figure out what they should do, and they get that analysis paralysis, and they are trying to figure out the website, and they're trying to figure out the perfect this or that, or they don't even know, they know they want to be an entrepreneur. They don't even know what business they should get into or what direction they should take. So I say avoid analysis paralysis. Just do something. Literally do anything. The worst thing that can happen is that you might find out that you were wrong and it wasn't the best direction to go. But if you are doing something, you will learn and you will get into that world and you will probably start making money. Also, personally, me as an entrepreneur, I did everything bootstrapped. So I don't really know how to tell you how to go get investments and things. If you know how to do that, that's awesome. And you have something amazing that you're going to get an investment for. So you have to build a whole business plan. You have to build a whole system before you're going to make any money. Then fine. If you know how to do that, great. But otherwise, just go make money. So go find something, whether it's a product or a service, and sell it and make money and use that money to invest into your business, to grow it, to, hire more people or get more people or quit your job, but just go and do something instead of the analysis paralysis that I know happens to all of us that just creeps in, or you feel like you're not good enough, right? And you get that, imposter syndrome and you're like, yeah, but I can't really sell this. Like, no, there are people who know less than you, who are less smart than you, making more money than you, doing what you want to do just because they're doing something. So if that's what I could leave with your people of, advice, how to survive the side hustle or be an entrepreneur, is go do it and stop thinking about it. Just go do it.
I love that. Action alleviates anxiety. Just do something. Get out there and go.
Exactly.
Maya, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to have you back on down the road. And
Yeah.
again, appreciate it so, so much. And
I
that's it
love-
for us today, guys. Maya, we'll talk again soon. Everybody else, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you
Peace.
so much.